Good morning, everyone. Today I'd like to share with you a design team project that I finished. This was for Country Craft Creations. I was using the Graphic 45 Mon Amour collection. I cannot rave about this collection enough. It was absolutely a real pleasure to work with, so easy to work with. And I still have quite a bit of it left that I'm going to do a couple other projects with. But today what I did use it on was I altered a cigar box, and inside there's also a mini album. So let's get to it. This again was a cigar box that I picked up. I keep my eyes open for all different size cigar boxes. I love picking those up and getting them really reasonable and then altering them. They just are so cool to work with. And there's so many different shapes and sizes out there, I had no idea. This one I picked up at a little antique shop that I like to go to and get deals. This was only a couple dollars. So what I did was I papered all of the outside and I put wooden feet on the bottom and of course my sticker on the bottom. And these were wooden dowels that I went ahead and made them black to go with the coordinating papers. And on the front, I did put quite a bit on the front. This was just such a pleasure to work with and such a joy. I would have put more on there had I thought I could fit it in. That's how much I loved working with this paper. I did a lot of fussy cutting, and I have a doily that I also picked up at the same antique shop. I have a doily on the background, and then on top of that I've layered several things. The lace is like a little flowered lace. I don't know where I got that. I think, again, at that same shop. I know I bought a bag of lace for a couple dollars, antique laces. I was tickled to get that deal. Again, I fussy cut, and then I used some of the glossy accents to pop some of the accents out. I used it on her lips so that they stand out. I put some drops, like water droplets, on the flowers that I fussy cut. And I did put it on the leaves. There was a butterfly underneath on this Mon Amour little sentiment, and I had this other butterfly that I liked better, so I put that over on the top of it. There's also some tiny little flowers, and there's a pen nib. I got these pen nibs. It's a new old bunch, as I call them. This was a new box of old pen nibs that had never been used and had never been opened. And again, I got that at an antique flea market for a couple bucks. I went ahead and used a metal piece for the opener, and then I whitewashed that to take some of that shiny look away from it. The pen nib, again, I really like that pen nib. I thought that was pretty cool. And then up at the top, I also fussy cut more flowers and then used one of these tiny little flowers. And this was like a ceramic piece. And I went ahead and I whitewashed that. And then I added this "You Are Loved" and popped this chipboard tag on. So a lot going on the front, but I think that it worked out well, and I think that it flows nicely. Now inside, I also decorated the inside cover of this box. I went ahead and I did a lacy corner edge punch around the black, and that was my base for the lid. And then I took some of the papers and I layered them on top. And then I had some of these really cool frames. These are like, they're supposed to be like vintage frames, and it gives like the name of the photographer on the bottom. And I used some more of the papers from the Mon Amour collection for the background in the frame. And then I fussy cut this couple out and put that kind of off center. Now inside the box, there's the album. And I fussy cut her. Let me go ahead and take it out. And I'll set the box off to the side. Okay, this is the album. And what I did was I went ahead and I made this a ribbon closure. I thought that really Just gave it a more feminine appeal to it. And this is a chipboard album. And again, it's all papered with the Mona Moore collection. And I went ahead and used some of the chipboard pieces that's in the collection, and I fussy cut this lady. Isn't she so pretty? I used glossy accents on a lot of the flowers on her dress. And then she's holding a tag that says, "Man cannot live without love." I also put a butterfly on the bottom. I thought that was a pretty touch. So let's go ahead and look inside. When you open it, it has a flap that also opens to the back. And on that flap, there are two little pockets. These came in the collection. This was in the Mona Moore collection from Graphic 45. And inside these little pockets are adorable sweet tags. So lots and lots in this collection. My gosh, this is just an absolutely beautiful collection. Romantic to the hilt. I added some ribbon to give it a little bit more pop and a little more interest. And it's all completely, again, inside it's all covered. And this is with the Graphic 45 Mona Moore collection papers. On the inside cover, I've got another one of the doilies that I used and some ribbon. And I put one of the chipboard pieces that says Mona Moore on. I've used the Tim Holtz Distress ink to kind of give it a vintage feel. I love that vintage photo. That has got to be my favorite one of all of them. I also used one of the cut-aparts that I went ahead and I matted, and I popped that up to give it some dimension on the inside. And this album is based on Tamara Merrill's idea of using like the waterfall and turning it sideways and making the album that way. Love that idea. Love the waterfall. So this is pretty much a pocket album, if you will, for lack of a better description. And I've used nothing but the Mona Moore inside this book. These are all cut-aparts, and these are all in the collection. And there's plenty more left. I didn't even use them all. But inside, there's a sentiment on each page, along with a really, really vintage-looking lady. They're all matted. They're all inked. And inside each and every pocket, there's also another tag. I left room at the bottom so that it could be journaled on. A small photo could be put on here, or also some journaling. And there's plenty of space on the back for a photo. And then with the bottom part being left longer, you can always add a date, or you could add some type of a journaling or description of what the photo is about. And on the bottom, again, another tag. This one is pretty flowers. The graphics in this collection are absolutely stunning. I just can't brag on them enough. They're just absolutely gorgeous. Turning the page, again, two more of the tags, which have been matted and turned into pockets. And each one has its own individual tag inside, with a place at the bottom to journal or date. A lot of times folks forget to put dates on their pictures, and then later on when they're looking at them, they're like, oh my gosh, does anyone remember when this was taken? Or that way, at least if you date them, you can get an idea on age at the time. Another one of the ladies from the collection, very vintage. This is such a cool vintage paper collection. Love, 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 love it. Wish I had a couple more stacks of this, which I may just have to order from Tamara. She does keep this stocked. She lives very close to the warehouse, so she gets it immediately. So I will put a link at the bottom so that you can go to her store. And again, I'm sure she's going to fly through this paper. I've had such a great response. The next page, this one, I went ahead and I did a flip up. That way you could put two photos, or you could do some extra journaling in here. This is hard mounted, so it's not going to come off or go anywhere. And on the top it says, I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. And inside that, that's also a pocket. Another tag with a vintage lady. Aren't these just the cutest things? Like I said, I absolutely just love this paper line, and I love how this album turned out. Turning the page, we have 2 more pockets, and this again, I put a sentiment on each one, and I also put one of the vintage ladies on each page. This says, when I saw you, I fell in love, and you smiled because you knew. Is that not too cool? I just think, again, beautiful, beautiful papers. The graphics are amazing, just amazing. Inside the pretty vintage lady pocket, of course, we have another. And there's room inside these little pockets because I didn't fix them all the way up to the top. I didn't adhere them all the way to the top. I left it partially loose at the top so that you could add another picture or 2 if you'd like. On this page, there's also a flip up at the bottom, the pretty vintage lady, and the top sentiment tag or pocket says, there is no remedy for love but to love more. And inside, of course, another vintage lady tag. And these are all different. So you get a lot to pick from and a lot to choose from and a lot to create with in this collection. Super, super, super awesome. Turning the page, thinking of you. This is also a flip up. And at the bottom, we have our pretty vintage lady that she's a pocket. And she holds another vintage lady tag. Such a cool idea. I'm so proud of this one. And again, I love Graphic 45. Some are more my favorites than others, but this one has got to be right up there at the top as my faves. This is the very back, the last page. And I went ahead and I used one of the ephemera cards and I turned that into a pocket. I went ahead and used some pink ribbon, and I used ribbons throughout the book. Again, this is a very feminine, very, very feminine paper, I think, and a very feminine photo album. So I wanted to bring in lots of the ribbons. And this holds 2 tags. And again, I left plenty of space at the bottom so that they could be journaled on, or even added another couple small photos. These slide right back in very nicely. And on the inside cover on the back, again, these were the 2 pockets that I showed you at the beginning. And they're set off with their lacy ribbon. Love this book. I just think this was just a really, truly a pleasure to work with. This is some more of the graphic paper in that photo, in that line. Isn't it beautiful? So feminine. And this is my booklet. I meant to show you too on the box. I showed you a little bit of the flower lace on the top. And what I did was I took that lace all the way around the box. Trying to keep it in the frame here, sorry. I took it all the way around for a very feminine look. These graphics and colorings on these papers, ladies, again, just absolutely beautiful. I appreciate you stopping by and watching my video. I will be posting more later. I'm working on some more projects and some more orders. I will put a link at the bottom for Country Craft Creations website. She has a wonderful store there, an online store. And again, you can get your Graphic 45 papers there in collections, and you can get them out immediately. Thanks for stopping by, and come back again. Also, visit my blog. My blog is thecross-eyed-cricket-creations.blogspot.com. I'll put a link to that as well. Thank you, ladies.